Section 7, Managing Your Economic Development Organization. During this segment, we'll talk about the best practices to manage an organization, potentially how to start one, and how to cooperate for territorial marketing and attraction. The three things that we'll take away and we'll learn from this segment are: how do you define organizational success? Which role would your organization like to play? And understanding what type of organization you'd like to be. Now, before I get into it, let's talk about what organizational success looks like. From an investment promotion perspective, organizational success takes on 5 different components. The first component, which many overlook, is funding. How will you fund your organization? Where will you get the money to do the marketing, infrastructure development, communications that you need, workforce connectivity, and stakeholder engagement that will sustain your organization in the long term? Who's funding the organization? The second is strategy. What will your strategy look like to attract foreign direct investment? What will your strategy look like to attract prospects using a marketing plan? What will your digital strategy look like? What is the strategy for your organization? And when we say strategy, what we mean is, how will you win? And which approach will you take to measure your success? The third element of organizational success is structure. How are you built? What is the anatomy of your organization or of your community that will help support and engage future activities? Once you have your funding, a strategy in place, a structure in place, then what are the processes you will use to execute those strategies and inform future decisions? This all comes together to create organizational success. In general, organizations can do a lot to help ensure their success by planning in advance, and strategy is a big component of that. We talked in future segments about knowing your audience, profiling them, how marketing to them will pay off, but ultimately, understanding the metrics that you'll use for the success of your organization are critical. So we recently defined organizational success, but what does that mean for you as a community? How should your organization be built? Well, we believe that there are 4 components of organizational leadership or of organizational growth, and we'll talk about them here. The first component, and let me write this down for you, is promotion. Is your organization going to promote the region? Are you going to generate awareness for the region? The second type of organization does deals. They do transactions. They create the projects that are in a community, and they do the transaction of that projects. Those are the hungry business development type organizations that are going to conferences, that are doing digital lead generation, that are meeting with companies on a regular basis. That's a deal-focused organization. The third type of organization is a retention type of organization. Retention type organizations tend to be a little bit more focused about the companies that are in their community right now. How can they get the companies that are in their community to expand, engage, address supply issues right now within their community? Fourth type of organization is an organization that focuses on infrastructure and policy. That type of organization looks to change infrastructure needs and policy needs that will support promotion, deals, retention, and workforce attraction. And the last type of organization is an organization that focuses on workforce attraction and development. Now you might say, as an organization, we have to do all of these 3 things, which is perfectly okay. But the best organizations in the country do 2 of these things really well. It could be promotion and workforce. It could be deals and retention. It could be infrastructure and deals, for example. But they do 2 of them really well. So understand which of the organizational functions you intend to do very well. Because at the end of the day, there's a symbiotic ecosystem at play for organizations. And that symbiotic ecosystem has to do with engaging talent. It has to do with the services that the community provides. It has to do with the product that the community has. It has to do with the companies that the communities are looking to attract and looking to keep. And an agency kind of sits at the middle of it. But because agencies are limited with staff and size and budget, they can only do so much. So think of the two things that you think your organization can do really, really well and focus on those. Once you have what your organization can do really, really well, keep score. Track the progress of what your organization is doing. Gather data about your workforce and employment. Gather data about your community and demographics. How are they changing? Are they improving? Are they declining? Gather data about what peer communities are doing as well. And look at how your organization is performing. One of my favorite organizations in the whole entire world is an organization based out of Southwest Michigan. The organization is called Southwest Michigan First. And one of the things that they have on their wall in their office is a scoreboard. Now, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, this is a baseball scoreboard. And over here you see home and away. And the home goals are internal goals. These are what the organization wants to accomplish internally. And the away goals are external goals. This is what the organization wants to accomplish for the region. Some of these goals are called shared economic prosperity metrics. And we'll talk about that in our metrics section. So what did we learn from managing your economic development organization? We learned how to define organizational success. We learned which role your organization would like to play, and defining that role is critical to the success of a formation for your organization. Are you going to be focused on promotion? Are you going to focus on retention and expansion? Are you going to focus on workforce attraction or development? Are you going to focus on infrastructure and policy? If you're going to focus on all of those things, the majority of your time and resources towards. The third thing that we learned is how to identify what type of organization you would like to be. Whether it's within workforce, within business attraction, within business retention. Are you going to be decentralized? Are you going to be centralized? And how is that going to connect with the funding that you have for your organization over the future? Building a solid strategic plan helps ensure organizational success, and we hope that you were able to get some of it from this session.